beings known as spirits are invading Earth and causing mass destruction. Now it's up to a young high school boy to stop them. Hello and welcome back to our channel iSky. Today we are going to do a recap of the anime series called Date Alive. Episode 5. The episode opens up at the Itsuka residence. Shido knocks on Toka's room, asking her to let him explain, but Toka refuses, still upset over what happened before. Meanwhile, at the local shrine, Hermit stands silently alone, her puppet missing. Later at a diner, Rini asks Toka on what her problem is before guessing that it involves Shido and the little girl. Toka refutes that it does not concern Shido, but Rini still assumes that he may be involved, where Toka then admits that she, herself, does not even know and why she is in the worst possible mood right now. Somewhere in the city, Shido, having gone grocery shopping, walks back home and takes an alleyway as a shortcut, but to his surprise he finds Yoshinin looking for something on the ground. He calls her name out, which startles the little girl and prompts her to run away, before Shido asks her not to, and he notices that she is missing her puppet. Yoshinin then runs to Shido, and then realizes that's what she is looking for.
君はおかしくなどないさ。
だがシドは
出してまで君を助けはしないと思うかね。
Yoshinin nods, confirming Shido's realization. Shido and Yoshino continue to search for Yoshinin in the rubble of the mall until Yoshino's stomach groans. Shido asks her if she is hungry, to which she quickly denies, until her stomach groans once again, embarrassing her. Katori then contacts Shido and tells him that it would be best to take a break and eat for now, telling him that it could give him some time to ask Yoshino some questions. At the Itsuka household, Shido prepares a meal for Yoshino, telling her that she must care about Yoshinin a lot. Yoshino then says that Yoshinin is her best friend and her hero, which surprises Shido. Yoshino continues on saying that she wants to become someone like Yoshinin, someone brave and strong. Yoshino concludes that she will, however, not become someone like her, but Shido states that he likes her just the way she is, which quickly embarrasses Yoshino. Shido asks if there was something wrong, but Yoshino says that nobody has said that before to her and thanks Shido for saying it to her. Katori sarcastically comments on what Shido had just said. After eating, Shido asks Yoshino why she never fights back against the Ast. Yoshino responds by saying that she does not like violence or being afraid. Yoshino then says that people must hate someone like that. She then continues by saying how she is afraid.
いつかシド何あれなんて
解析結果から間違いない。
とビーチさ
何
Always freezing up when she gets scared. After explaining, Shido pets her head, and upon being asked why, he proclaims to Yoshino that he is here to protect her and that they will find Yoshinin, but she does not need to rely on her anymore as he will be there, as he states that he is her hero now. Moved, Yoshino thanks Shido for his kindness. Shido then apologizes for the incident between them yesterday, but then tries to kiss her to seal Yoshino's power. However, Toka arrives trying to apologize to him and catches both him and Yoshino, much to his dismay. Somewhere in the city, Yoshino is being chased and attacked by the Ast, trying to loose them but is cornered by Ryoko and manages to momentarily knock her down. As Ryoko opens fire on her, Yoshino summons Sadkiel, causing the area around her to freeze as the Ast open fire on her again, but counters by freezing two members, leaving only Origami and Ryoko as the duo chase after Yoshino. As she retreats from them, Yoshino hears Shido calling out to her. She is able to see Shido, stopping in her tracks. When Shido is about to give her back Yoshino, Origami fires at Yoshino, hitting her angel and scaring Yoshino. Ryoko spots Shido and warns him of the danger. Zadkiel then begins to attack again, but with Shido in front of the oncoming blast. From afar, Toka sees what is happening, and seeing that Shido is in danger, she tries to summon Sandalpin but strangely can't. After many failed attempts, Toka is able to summon her angel just in time, protecting Shido from Zadkiel. Yoshino then retreats once again, with the Ast on her tail still. Toka then goes to Shido and apologizes to him for her behavior recently, but Shido apologizes to her instead but asks her to help him save Yoshino. Upon hearing him say this, Toka sadly expresses how Yoshino seems to be more important to Shido than her, as Yoshino is trapped by the Ast. Shido then clears up the whole thing and reveals to Toka that she is a spirit as well. Origami then tries to finish Yoshino off, but she is able to break free using her angel. Shido tells Toka that he had promised Yoshino that he would do whatever he could to protect her but cannot do it on his own, pleading Toka to help him. Shido then sits back up and assures to Yoshino that everything will be fine. But she thanks him for being nice to her and for saving Yoshino. Shido then says to Yoshino that it is her time to be saved, but that he must kiss her in order to do so, which seemingly upsets Yoshino. Noticing this, Shido takes it back by saying that it was just a joke, but Yoshino stands up and kisses him. Episode 6. Toka and Yoshino wanted to go to hot springs, so Shido asks Katori for permission. Once he gets the approval, they set out.
俺だけどこの前借りてた本
At the same time, the AST had planned to go on a tour of various hot springs around the country, but the trip was cancelled due to an increased alert level. Instead, the best they can do is go to the nearby hot springs. The AST captain, angry about the cancelled trip, is determined to make it to those hot springs. Ratatoskr detects AST on the move as Shido and the spirits are on their way to the hot springs. Thinking that the AST is going after the spirits, Ratatoskr begins using some non-lethal stops to prevent the AST from making it to their destination. Collapsed bridges, fake roads, walls blocking their path, all sorts of methods. But the AST captain will not let anything get in her way, so they keep on going. This causes Ratatoskr to go all out, throwing subtlety out the window. Food stands begin shooting projectiles, flowers begin emitting hypnotic gas, roads get coated in oil. But it continues to escalate as the AST fights on. Missiles disguised as radishes, dolls tase people walking by, and eventually, a giant bomb. In the end, they get to the hot springs, only for them to freeze over as Yoshinan's head falls off, causing Yoshino to freeze everything around her.
司令、ご報告が。
カンナつき彼は取れるか筋肉痛にも
Episode 7. In what seems to be a destroyed part of the city, Origami is facing off against a young girl wearing a CR unit that looks completely different from hers. With the rest of her own teammates down, Origami engages the girl. After distracting her, Origami goes on to attack her from behind until the girl's territory protects her from Origami's attack. At that moment, a woman's voice says that time has run out, and it is all revealed to have been a practice match. Ryoko wonders in amazement how the girl managed to easily fight off 10 of her troops all by herself. She then brushes aside the comment, as the girl has an infamous reputation for having killed a spirit before. Later on, Ryoko has the girl introduce herself to her squad. The girl introduces herself as Mana Takemiya, a second lieutenant wizard. Afterwards, Ryoko smacks both Mana and Origami on their heads and asks both why they had to destroy the equipment they were using during a practice match. The two of them simply apologize to her. Ryoko then advises the two to not do so again before she tells Mana that they will then be going over about their previous encounter with the spirit hermit. Mana complies after Ryoko invites her to sit and join them.
シド
こんなことに。
As Ryoko plays a feat of her and her team's previous battle with Yoshino, Mana and Origami initially talk regarding Ryoko until Origami mentions that the rest have been talking about her and how she has killed a spirit before, with Origami asking how she was able to do it. Mana explains to Origami that this particular spirit is not all the same and that she have to face them differently each time. After telling Origami this, Mana then sees Shido in the feed and mysteriously calls him her brother, much to Origami's great surprise upon hearing this. Sometime later, Origami confronts Mana over an explanation regarding her claims of being Shido's other little sister. Mana then asks if he is a friend of Shido's, which causes Origami to immediately claims that they are in a relationship, much to Mana's surprise. Unexpectedly, a new student transfers into Shido's class. She announces herself as Kurumi Takasaki, a spirit. Kurumi then asks Shido to show her around school. We get a bit of comedy as Ratatoskr tries to guide Shido into saying the right things to Kurumi. Ultimately, though, it doesn't work. On the way home, Shido runs into Mana Takemiya, who claims to be Shido's little sister. Apparently, Shido was adopted into Kotori's family.
こちらへ
And Mana is actually his lost blood-related sister. Kotori took a disliking to Mana immediately. And the two argue a bit before Mana runs out when she lets slip that she is living in a special work dorm. The next day it's revealed to Shido that Mana is actually a member of the AST. Mana ends up killing Takasaki, decapitating her, but somehow, Takasaki still appeared at school. Sometime later, Takasaki is strangling Origami in the stairway after Origami confronted her saying that she should have died. Episode 8. In this episode, Shido asks Kurumi out on a date, because even though she apparently can't die, Ratatoskr still thinks she can be saved through the usual dating process. Toka, feeling neglected, is given some tickets to see an aquarium by those three girls that appear every now and then. She asks Shido out on a date. Finally, Origami calls Shido telling him that he isn't safe on his own and asks him out on a date. Shido juggles 3 dates at once, with the help of Ratatoskr and a lot of trips to the washroom. He goes to the aquarium with Toka, a restaurant with Origami, and a lingerie shop with Kurumi. However, while he is away from Kurumi, she wanders into a nearby park where she finds a group of delinquents hurting a cat. Kurumi proceeds to decimate the delinquents. Shido shows up to blood everywhere, but he is held down by Kurumi when he tries to run. At the last moment, Mana shows up and knocks Kurumi away. And that's all for today, guys. If you liked the recap and want more summaries like this, consider subscribing to our channel.